Study Smart series brought to you by the Academy features Will Robbins, a past pupil and study expert, here to show you his 7 steps towards achieving what he did in his Leaving Cert, and myself, David Lewis, maths teacher, biology teacher and study skills coach here at the Dublin Academy. Hi and welcome back to podcast number 3. What we're going to speak about in this one, or what Will's going to speak about, is high performance habits of the Leaving Cert. What are they and how you can use them? So Will, we've spoken a little bit, we've spoken on this series about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But habits are 100%, I think, in terms of life, they are absolutely crucial. Can you explain to us maybe a little bit what a high performance habit is for a Leaving Cert student and how we could utilise some of them?
Yeah, so I think in my interview last year I spoke a bit about habits and how they can be so valuable. But I think the value of them it kind of goes back to the famous quote from Aristotle, we are what we repeatedly do. So it can be very daunting to look at the Leaving Cert and look at people who've done well in it and think, how did they get there? Or look up to people we admire and think, how can I even begin to be capable of what they're doing? But everything that was once big started small. And I think I have a little quip about this in the piece that, before Luke Skywalker was, the character he is, it was Luke Starkiller. So the first draft of Star Wars was a mess. The first anything is really a mess. It's just through incremental improvements that things get to be so worthy of our awe and respect. So that kind of little philosophical interlude aside, I think there's a lot of low-hanging fruit that Leaving Cert students can pick up just through really simple habits.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of what the piece was about from a high level.
I remember you said it to me one time. You said I think it was you said something along the lines of, I think it might be from Atomic Habits. If you're trying to run a marathon or something like that, you shouldn't aim to run the marathon. You should aim to be a runner, which just means you run every day. And from a student point of view, what sort of high performance habits do you reckon might be an example of a few people that people could start small and then build up and actually get dramatic return over the next 260 days?
To your point, I think it's very important to focus, like we said in the last episode, about systems over goals. So if you just focus on the goal, you're kind of disappointed every day if you're not there. But if you focus on the system, you're getting a win every day and you're making progress. Mm-hmm. And as you said, that compounds. So I kind of wanted to focus on the fundamentals, because you can get really kind of wrapped up in doing all these kind of esoteric habits and get lost in that. But really, what matters is the fundamentals. And even if you're putting in crazy hours of study, if you're tired and you're devoid of energy because you're not exercising or eating right, there's no point, because you're going to be showing up as I think I said, a tired idiot. You're not going to get much done in that kind of state. So the main focus of the post was kind of the 3 pillars of sleep, diet and exercise. Happy to dive into those a bit more. Sleep is
Which sleep, by the way, when you say sleep now to a 6th year student, as maybe you were a little bit different, but when I say sleep, you've got to sleep more. They almost switch off. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, because it's not sexy advice, So you would hear, say you listen to motivational videos and stuff, you have Eric Thomas and people shouting at you saying, sleep less, you gotta want success more than you want to sleep, which is just not helpful at all, because if you're not sleeping, you're not going to get really any quality work done.
Mm-hmm.
So I fell for this myself during the year. Over Easter, I think I was feeling a little bit behind, so I said I'm just going to go all in and sleep 4 hours, spend the rest of the time studying, going to the gym in the middle of the day, and I'll get so much done. But a few days into that, I was getting sleep paralysis, and even I was taking little naps during the day, and I'd get sleep paralysis during them as well. I'd fall asleep at my desk and stuff. So that kind of routine is just not sustainable. I would recommend get first of all, get your 8 hours of sleep. And as for ways to do that, I think setting a bedtime alarm is probably more helpful for people than setting a waking up alarm, because if you're waking up with an alarm, you're kind of by definition not getting the sleep you need. And there are a lot of other kind of tips in the post as to how you can optimize that sleeping routine and get good quality sleep if you want to.
I definitely found that by saying to myself, well, I'm going to invest a couple more hours in myself, it allowed me to, I have a post on my wall at home and it allows me to show up better to the hours that I have in the day. So overall, if you have a multiplier on that, you just get a way better output. So yours was an extreme version in the end, just you're getting nothing. But it'd be like if you're not sleeping, it'd be like digging, and then get every single day without sleeping, apart from not working very well, your shovel will just get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you actually don't have a shovel anymore. It's just you're in bits.
Goes back to something we were talking about in our interview a year ago about if you have whatever 6 hours to chop down a tree, spend the first 5 to sharpening the axe. So sleep's a great way to sharpen that axe. And also another analogy in the post was, most people or some people work like cows, so they'll be grazing all day on what's in front of them, kind of think of it as like a simmering 6 out of 10. So they're never really reaching like top performance, but they're not allowing themselves to rest either. Whereas like in reality, you get more work done if you work like a lion. So you go all in on like focus sprints, 10 out of 10, and then you give yourself time to rest as well. And that kind of focus work compounds over time. Yeah,
brilliant. So the sleep very, very important, and for many other reasons which we won't get into here, but I remember you telling me loads of stuff about sleep and going to your long-term memory. But diet, tell me a bit about that, because when I say stuff about eating healthy and stuff like that, people just think I'm being a musclehead or whatever. Tell me what you feel about this.
Yeah, so aside from obviously all the benefits it'll have for your physique and all those things, like it's very important for study as well. Like your diet, you are what you eat. It's cliche, but it's true. And if you're eating junk food, you're gonna just end up with no energy and pretty incapable of doing much quality work. And there's a lot of research on the impact of diet on the brain, which I do include in the post. But it's been studied in depth, and the research have found that students with a better diet actually do perform. I think it's like 50% better on average than students with a less good diet.
Yeah, I would think that like students could get it, like you said, low hanging fruit. Students could get a serious return by investing 10 or 15 minutes into looking up a couple of things on the internet. And just because you hear so many different opinions and points of view of different things shouting in, and random lines like that no carbs before marbs, and I'm tired now and it's 8:30 at night, so I'll just have a Monster energy drink and all that sort of stuff. You have all these ideas and you never actually sit down to find actually what's working for me at the moment, and what could I improve a bit more. You just kind of knee-jerk react, and if they invested 15 minutes in thinking about what they could do to make it a little better throughout their day, it's almost like the sleep, you're showing up again with more energy. You're not having crazy sugar crashes maybe after lunch and missing out in a class or 2 classes because you can't pay attention.
And like there is a wealth or abundance of information out there on diet, and it can get a bit misleading. And should I be vegan or carnivore? Should I be low carb or slow carb, or whatever it is? And I think just probably as a rule of thumb, like avoid sugar or avoid anything that was kind of introduced into the human diet in the last 50 odd years, because we've probably not evolved to eat that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of information out there, so it can be confusing. And the next thing was kind of was
the exercise.
Was the exercise, and yourself, it has tremendous like benefits for mood, for kind of self-confidence, but it's actually like for the brain, a bit of exercise in the morning is like akin to taking a bit of Prozac and a bit of Adderall. Like it has the same neurological effect, so it's just really good for focus. And then it has a whole host of benefits for self-confidence and positive self-image.
And when you say exercise, I know you mentioned this, but you obviously don't mean, oh, you gotta go lift weights, you gotta have to run, or you have to, whatever, I suppose, whatever suits you, whatever gets your body moving. It doesn't have to be anything. What would you think, just on a side note, before we kind of leave this one here? I noticed a lot of students in sixth year, and I definitely would have been the same, who in sixth year, maybe it's because of the mood they're in, get absolutely obsessed with a certain type of exercise, maybe because there's a holiday coming up or not.
Yeah.
And then their whole day, even though it's leaves, will be based around what time they're going to the gym and what they are going to do in the gym. Would you notice that at all?
Yeah, like well, I think it's obviously good to be have some focus on exercise, and probably shouldn't take up your entire day.
Yeah.
But like, I think anyone who has a strong gym habit going, like, you don't need to take advice from me. Obviously, keep doing that. But if someone's not exercising, I think, I don't want to be too prescriptive, but it's definitely something you should pick up if you want to, get that extra edge on the leaving cert. Even just a short run or a short home workout will be like tremendous for your mood and energy throughout the day. Even if you're not gonna lifting a ton of weight or
even lifting weights at all. I know what you mean. It kind of spikes you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, unbelievable. So that's high performance habits. Anything to conclude? Anything else on the?
Yeah, I think the final one's kind of like mastering your mindset, and we kind of explored the fundamentals there, but there's some higher hanging fruit, I suppose, in like managing your psychology. And something Chris turned me on to was a quote from Tony Robbins that success is 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. So 80% your mindset and how you view possibilities, how you view what happens to you, and then 20% what you do. So yeah, I think ways for like staying in a positive state, because ultimately your state will determine the kind of story you tell yourself about what happens to you, and then that will in turn dictate the results you get and the action you take. So I think you've probably heard it a million times, but meditation is a big one. Even just 5-10 minutes a day just helps to kind of reset and become less reactive to things. And journaling as well, really good for kind of getting your thoughts out of your head and just onto paper. And then another one I included that people can try for themselves is something I got from Jim Collins, author of Good to Great, which is where every day you just kind of you have the date. You might put this in a spreadsheet or a journal or whatever it is. You have a short description of maybe what you did that day, and then just a rating of the day on a spectrum of -2, which would be just like a terrible day, to 2, which would be best day ever. And over time you can kind of see patterns, like what works for me, when do I feel happiest, when do I feel best, and what are the kind of common root structures of those days. And over time you can kind of create consistently better days for yourself. So that's a bit more kind of out there, but if you even take a few tips from the entire piece, because it's a long one, and revisit it throughout the year as you're struggling with different things, I think you could probably get a lot from it.
Fantastic. I never heard the -2 thing. The other two have been absolutely fundamental for me over the last few months anyway. Okay, well, thanks very much. High performance habits number 3. OG.